and welcome to MCLE This Week. We are excited to start off our new interview style with one of my favorite people in the legal industry, Jared Correia. Jared, do you want to introduce yourself, or do you want me to read through your
No,
standard bio?
please don't read through the
All
standard
right,
bio. It's so old
tell
and
everybody about
hacky
yourself.
at this point. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited. You're
Yeah.
launching. I think I feel like you asked me because I have a microphone. I feel like that's mostly what this is about. But that's
Well, I'm not going to lie. Maybe that was a part of it.
that's fair. Yeah, so I am a former practicing attorney, and I was not about that life, so I gave it up around I want to say like 5 years into my career.
What were
Um,
you practicing back then? I don't think I ever found
Uh,
out.
I think we were doing like a little bit of personal injury,
Okay,
a little bit of bankruptcy, um, and then I was doing other stuff too. Can't remember exactly what it was.
right.
Maybe divorce. It's a long time ago. I tried to block
Jeez.
it out, but I was like, when I started practicing, I was basically like in a firm where like the attorneys like weren't really like interested in training me as a lawyer, and they
Oh.
were more interested in like being outside of the office. So it's kind of a weird experience. I was kind of like almost running a firm like on my own. It's like a new grad. Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah.
Because we're in the interview format now.
Yes.
So I remember I was like we got this personal injury case and I like worked up the whole thing and managed it myself. I worked with the paralegals and everything. I was really proud of myself. And we got policy limits on this case. And I was like 24 years old or whatever. I'd been practicing law for like 3 months. And then the attorneys came in, like wandered in one day and they were like, "Hey, we're going to hook you up, man. Like, we really appreciate you doing that." And the next day they were like, "Okay, um, grab your jacket. There's an all you can eat $8 Chinese buffet across town. We're taking you there and you can eat all that you want." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of got that when you said it was an all you can eat buffet." So, yeah, like I think they made like, you know, 33, $66,000 off that case. I forgot what the policy limits are, and they were kind enough to give me my $8 lunch at the Chinese buffet. One of the many reasons why I stopped practicing law. But now what I do is I work as a consultant for lawyers. So I help lawyers to manage their businesses more effectively and efficiently, generate more revenue. And I work with firms across the globe. I have a company called Red Cave Law Firm Consulting, through which I do that. I do a lot of presentations, including for MCLE, and I've got partnerships with a number of bar associations all over the place. So, in a nutshell, that is my deal.
Right. So for folks who don't know who you are,
Yeah,
obviously
like who?
Red
Who
Cave,
doesn't know who
Red
I
Cave,
am? No.
who knows? Red Cave Legal. The other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is the Legal Toolkit podcast.
Oh yes,
So
right.
you want to fill folks
Hence the
in on what
microphone.
what you're covering? Hence the microphone. Yes.
Yes, I've got a podcast I've had since 2009, believe it or not, called The Legal Toolkit, and it's gone through a few different iterations, but now it's sort of like
Mhm.
a late night talk show version of a podcast. So we've reformatted it. So I'll do a monologue, we'll have a guest, we'll play stupid games, kind of like the David Letterman or Conan O'Brien version of a legal podcast. And
Right.
yeah, we've done hundreds of episodes on that show. I have a really fun time with that. And I have a bi-weekly podcast for Above the Law on legal technology that's
Hmm.
called a Non-Eventcast, and I'm just regularly guesting on podcasts as well. So yeah, when I started podcasting, um, I remember my mom being like, "What's a podcast?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, it'll become popular." I have a lot of stupid ideas, but that was a good one.
Well, and for those who do recognize your name through MCLE, Jared has been doing programs for us at MCLE for
Oh, years,
at
man.
least, yeah.
15,
I've
16
been
years
here 7 years,
at
and
least. Yeah.
you've been doing them far longer than that. So folks, if by
I'm
the end
old.
of this you're not sick of hearing Jared's voice, I recommend tuning in one of the podcast. I recommend checking out the Legal Toolkit podcast. Check out the
Thank you.
non-event podcast. Hey, check out our website. Look up Jared's name on the website. It's going to show up all over the place. He's got a lot of great topics, so there's a lot of information. So,
Oh, thank
um,
you. You're too kind.
oh, well, so for today's podcast, our topic loosely is common consulting tips to solos and small firms. So,
Yeah,
Jared, I wanted to talk about what are the most common tips? In other words, you get to see all of these, you get to see all these firms and you get to
in the
see,
wild. Yeah,
yes, and all of the insanities and craziness that goes on in those firms where, I mean, come on. You're a consultant.
I got some stories,
There's got to be
man.
some easy ones that are just like happen all of the time. Like every single law firm should do this and none of them do. And I get to tell them all to do this. And it's just easy money in my pocket.
Everything I do is hard and charged at an appropriate rate. No,
Sorry.
no, there's like common stuff, of course.
Yeah.
Let me throw some at you.
Okay.
All right, one of the things I love to do with so problem number one, lawyers aren't great about managing data at any level, really. And I'm a big process person, I'm a big data person, so I like to
Okay.
ask questions about the firm and like how is this performing? How is that performing? Yeah.
So what kind of data are you talking? I mean, are you talking about? Obviously, are you
Let
talking about like managing the marketing information? Or are you talking about they're just,
oh,
they're not running even their own, like
let
things
me
that they
give you
should
the
be doing with
simplest
their cases
example.
that they're not doing.
Everything, Bruce.
Okay.
Let me give you my best example. Like I'll always, whenever I talk to an attorney, I'll be like, okay, um, what's your practice mix like? Meaning, like, okay, what do you focus on? What are the subsets of your main practice? Like, if you're an immigration attorney, like, how many H-1Bs do you do? Like that kind of thing. And I ask that question because no one has the answer. And that's a pretty easy way for me to get into data. So I'm like, well, if you had the right software, you could generate a report where you could see the percentages of, the cases you're working on. And then let's take that down a step. Like, let's see what cases are most profitable. And then I kind of get into this whole conversation about, you see, this is why data is important and this is why you need to keep track of it. But almost nobody does. Um, and that's the first thing I tell people is like, you've got software you're using. It's got built-in reports. Like we're not even talking about custom reports at this point. You're not
Right.
looking at any of it. You're just like rolling. You're like it's like rolling down a river without oars. Like you have no ability to control the stuff that's happening at your firm because you don't actually know what's happening at your firm. You're only making educated guesses. And it's kind of staggering to me over the course of time that like lawyers have continued to act this way in practice when, the sports industry has started using data aggressively. The financial industry has started using data aggressively. The medical industry, lawyers lag way behind on that stuff. And I am seeing more firms doing it than I ever have before, but still fewer firms than you would think.
So so firms basically are still not trying to are still never going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, well, but I
Yeah.
mean that's a great analogy
Yeah.
because yeah, you look at the way that football coaches coach now, and like they're going for it on fourth down more than ever before. But that's not just like a hunch anymore. That's
No.
because the data backs it up. Like you have a higher percentage of getting the fourth down, and it's more valuable to the flow of the game than it would be to like punt at that point.
Right.
And lawyers don't look at it that way. Yeah. So to extend that analogy, lawyers are punting far too often.
There we go.
Well played, sir. Thank you for teeing me up on that one.
Happy
We got
to.
we got our soundbite, and I'm done here.
So what other tips and suggestions do you have?
Here's another one. Um, whenever so people ask me about like marketing and web presence quite a bit. And again, there's like a lot of attorneys like whenever I ask lawyers like, "Oh, how's the practice going? Like how you doing in terms of revenue and marketing and stuff like that?" And the answer is almost inevitably like, "Oh, seem to be going okay. I'm sure they'll keep going okay." Which is like not the answer you want to hear, right? Because if things start to go awry, you'd never know. You'd never have any way to discover it.
Right.
So with the law firms I talk to, I will sort of say, okay, like let's look at let's say I'm a referral source. What do I see when I look you up online? Because it's 2024 and nobody like, it's just like, oh, Bill told me to go work with this attorney. I'll do that sight unseen. It's all trust but verify. So they're going to go on Google and check you out. And like, I love talking to an attorney and I'm like, did you know that this is the third ranked link about you on Google? And it's some weird stuff that they did. And they're like, no, I had no idea. So I to kind of like get people into the spirit of like, oh hey, let's market in a way that utilizes like the real time information that we have available to us rather than just again guessing after what we're going to do or solely focusing
Right.
on personal referrals. Like, and you can do this right now if you're an attorney and you're listening to this, like put your browser on incognito mode so your past searches don't reflect your current search and search your name and see what comes up. That's what referral sources are seeing. Do you look like an idiot? Or do you have a lot of valuable information that people can find? And then the other thing I tell people is like, hey, like you know that referral searchers are going to look up your name. They're going to see that these results are popping up. And then when those results pop up, what happens? Like, do you need to optimize some of those sites? Do you need to improve the quality of the content that you have on some of the sites? That's low hanging fruit too. And this is like usually when I'm talking to people about this, it's like the first conversation we have. So that's another one that's real easy. I mean, you could do that on your own. I don't have to come on to a phone call with you and make you look like an idiot.
Well, yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I have searched my own name on the internet. It's not pretty. It's not what I want at all. I discourage everybody else from ever actually trying to search my name on the
But
internet.
if you're
It's a
a
bad
law firm,
idea,
like that's
but
the most changeable
yes,
thing you can
right. You
do.
can
Like
fix
that's
this.
low stakes, yeah.
Right.
And let me just concur. Don't look up Bruce.
No, it's
You can
just
look me up though. Look me
it's gonna
up.
be bad. Exactly.
Advance your practice with the MCLE Online Pass. For one monthly subscription fee, you can access everything MCLE has online: live and on demand webcasts, ebooks, forms, checklists, and more. Start your free trial today at mcle.org/onlinepass.
So, Jared, what else you got for us?
Um, okay.
I'm looking for roughly a top three or five. So just be warned, I'm going to ask this question again in a couple of minutes. So
And I never prepare for these things because I like conversational discussion.
yeah.
So I love ripping this stuff off just off the dome. Okay. So the third thing I would say is I find that like one of the hardest things to do is to move from like a solo attorney to a small firm attorney. One of the most difficult things for a lawyer to do is to hire another lawyer. Um, in part because it's a big move in the abstract, and in part because you look at that number and you're like, okay, I'm going to hire an attorney, and that attorney is going to cost me like I don't know, $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, damn, $100,000 a year is a lot of money. I'm not sure I can afford that. However, like the value of hiring an attorney as a biller is that they're going to be the most profitable person you can hire because you can charge them off at the most money. And if you
Right.
have a salary, you can kind of control what they make more so than you could a contractor. So I like to, so, and I have some personal experience with this. So when I started practicing, I remember I got hired by a law firm, different law firm, and than I talked about before. And they were basically like, they called me into their office after 3 months and they're like, we're firing you. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was doing pretty good, and I thought we were like getting on pretty well. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with you. They were like, we hired you, and we thought we'd just get more work in this particular category, and we didn't. And I was like, you didn't like you weren't like running projections on that, or had a plan for how to get that much more work. You just thought it would come in randomly, like you could snap your fingers and get like 30 new cases. And I remember walking out of that meeting and I was like, that was really dumb. Like, why would somebody do that? Like, I wasn't even upset. I was just like, that's what a weird concept to have. But then I realized, like, that's not an uncommon thing. So, like, when I talk to lawyers about this, I'm like, look, let's break down the expense on a weekly basis.
Mhm.
Let's break down the expense on a monthly basis. Let's talk about the work you could offload to this person right now. Let's talk about the work that you could offload to this person in the future if you have more time to market yourself. And let's run some numbers and let's do that. And then let's figure out how profitable this person is. Are you going to make 3x on what you're paying this person, or are you just going to try to break even in the first year? So I was struck when I worked at law firms about the lack of planning that went into stuff that they did. So when I work with lawyers now, I try to make sure that we measure 9 times and cut once. I tell people all the time, like, I'm going to be really annoying to work with because every assumption you make, I'm going to question it.
Right.
And then after a while, like, we're not making assumptions anymore. So I would say that, like, one of the things, like, if you're a firm and if you're listening to this and you're a solo attorney and you want to grow right now, you're going to have to cross the bridge of hiring another lawyer at some point. And when you do that, it makes a ton of sense to like flesh out financial models before you do that. How am I doing so far?
Doing well. So
Okay.
Mike, if you're a solo, like, I
Yeah.
mean, how much of the numbers do you need to be working as a solo, or is this more a case of, once you start to see firms start to grow, then they really need to start paying attention to this? Is this something that a solo for the most part can kind of avoid and just, look at the bank statements and figure out how they're doing? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier for solo, obviously. You can
Mhm.
pull a profit and loss statement from QuickBooks pretty easily. You can get a sense of what your balance sheet is. But if you want to grow beyond a solo practice,
Right.
like it's something you have to consider. So the other thing I would say is like, um, you know, when you're growing a law firm and you want to build it out, I always tell people the first thing you should do if you're a solo is try to get efficient as possible as a solo practitioner. And so the first thing you want to do is like ramp up your work. Like, how much work can I handle without feeling overwhelmed? And then you want to say, okay, I'm at my top level where I probably can't handle any more work without feeling overwhelmed. So is there
Right.
technology I should utilize to figure this out? Um, if I adopted like an intake system, would that free me up to do more work? So you look
Yeah.
at technology, and then like in addition to the caveat here now is that like some of the technology includes AI, right? So maybe 3 4 years ago I was like, oh, do I adopt an intake system? Now I'm like, oh, do I use an autonomous agent, or do I
Right.
start to dive into that part of it? And then that's sort of like right in between a technology tool and
Right.
a person. So you leverage that as much as you can. And
Yeah.
then if your practice is running like in a hyper efficient way as a solo, and you're like, okay, I'm still too busy, and I've got maybe, you know, 10, 15 cases I can hand off to somebody, then you start thinking about, okay, maybe this is the time to bring somebody in. And ideally, if your practice is running efficiently, you've got all kinds of processes in place to guide what you do, and then you can simply relay those processes to the person that you hire. And
Right.
I'm not saying relay like just tell them, like you want to have them written down somewhere, or you want to be utilizing a software product to have memorialize those processes. If you've got somebody coming in and they can rely on that, it makes training a lot easier, makes it easier to get them off the ground and efficient themselves and billable. And then you repeat the process. Okay, it's now me and an associate attorney and a paralegal.
Right.
We're as efficient as we can be. We've got more work than we can handle. Let's bring someone else in.
Right. Yeah. And if you've got the numbers, if you actually need to bring somebody else in,
Right.
because
Yeah. So it all works together in theory.
yeah, because I
And
mean, you're not looking to create a situation where you bring somebody on and then 3 months later decide, oh, it turns out we didn't need you.
that happens. Yes. And I understand how annoying I am with this stuff. And no one wants to do this. No one wants to do this. So a lot of people I work with, they're like, "Hey, I just want you to harass me every every month, every couple of weeks to make sure I'm doing the stuff I need to do." Because you got to step out of practicing law, which is like if you ask most attorneys like, "Why do
Right.
you do what you do?" They're like, "I like to practice law and I like to help people." That's great. But if you're the owner of the firm, you're also a business person and you need
Right.
to act that way.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be the one managing the numbers. So
Yeah, no one wants to do that. No one. I like it, but that's probably why I don't practice law anymore.
I don't even like balancing my own budget. Forget about anything else. So,
Oh my
I
God,
mean,
no one likes budgeting. It's horrendous.
no,
Like you just want to
nightmare.
be able to pay for everything.
I mean, what we're all here playing the capitalism game, and we're all trying to win this game. And
Right.
I haven't
Right.
quite won
Right.
yet. I got a little more work to do on that one.
That's all
So
right. We'll get there.
yeah. So Jared, I want to thank you for actually, there was one other question I wanted to
Wait,
ask.
you got one more? All
I
right. All
have
right. I,
one
I like that. You
last
did a little end
question.
around there. You're like, we're
I
done. No, we're not.
just a quick. This is a very quick one. I went to the
Okay.
website. I went to your website. And I want to know, is it currently it lists 1,200 Rolos consumed. Now, are we talking
Oh,
individual
that's
Rolos or are these are full sleeves of Rolos, right?
got to be full sleeves at
I
this point.
mean,
Yeah.
right.
Like, why eat one Rolo? Like, that's almost embarrassing.
I mean, you get these people who will buy them and pour them into like a jar or something, and then you can
I
pick
couldn't
out
do that.
one.
You'd be rolling me out of my house if I did that.
Well, there we go. I just saw Rolos consumed on the website, and I figured, I needed to
I so
ask to
well, the
know.
backstory is I love Rolos. They're like my favorite candy. And so obviously I try not to keep Rolos in the house. But I will say that like my daughter and I were at the airport on Friday and she went to the shop and she came back with Rolos. And I was like, hell yeah, that's how you do it. I'd also plug 100 grand. 100 grand is also a good underrated candy as well, if we're at it.
I'm a Canadian.
What do
Give me
Canadians like for candy?
coffee crisp. I love a coffee crisp.
Really? I've never had a
Oh my,
coffee crisp.
oh,
Can you
they're so
score me
good.
one at some point down the line?
I will do what
We'll,
I
we'll,
can to get you
we'll
a
do a
coffee crisp.
trade. I will trade you Rolos for coffee crisps.
Well, Rolos are pretty easily accessible around here, so
I know. I know. I wanted the easy part of the deal.
I'll see what I can do. So,
Thank you.
Jared, I want to thank you for joining the program.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. It was a great start off. And
I had a
I
blast.
look, yeah, and I would list off the next thing you're doing for us. But to be honest, I'm not 100% sure when exactly we're posting this podcast. So there you go, folks. We're recording a little bit early.
It'll be a mystery.
It'll be a mystery for everyone. So,
Come find it.
yes, exactly. So, but Jared, thanks again. And I'll look forward to you on the next program. So.
Thanks.
The MCLE This Week podcast is a production of Massachusetts Continuing Legal Education in Boston, Massachusetts. For sponsorship opportunities, email us at podcast@mcle.org.